Unfortunately, now is not the time for sympathy for Newcastle United. It's a day of inevitability for Ipswich Town, and it's a day where we simply need to win the football match for Newcastle United. The Ipswich at home match previews coming up, Newcastle fans, so do us a favour and make sure you stick around. Welcome back to Black White Banter, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I'm outside the place that is soon to be very busy with lots of, dare I say, nervous and hopeful Newcastle fans as we simply have to get the job done. If you're new around here, give us a little like, give us a little subscribe and get Black White Banter across all social media. It's as simple as that. Like, performances are great and performances, generally speaking, have been very good. But after the shock, dare I say, of a 4-1 defeated Villa, which I don't think any of us expected, despite not really having the squad depth to deal with those 3 matches in 6 days. We just need the points. I look at our remaining fixtures. Champions League is in our own hands, which is wonderful, and that is something I am so grateful for as we go into this last 6 games, but we've just got to do the job against the team which, let's face it, let's call a spade, we should definitely be beating at home on a good old-fashioned Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff. Now, what I find interesting about this particular day is that Chelsea are at 12:30 on Saturday. The mind games have already started. Chelsea can go above us and Forest because of a better goal difference. So before we've even kicked the ball, there's pressure on, and every other team in and around us is not playing because of the FA Cup. Forest, Manchester City and Aston Villa are all preoccupied. So it's us and Chelsea in this little race this weekend. Chelsea can do their job first. They're at home to Everton. You'd probably expect them to win. And Newcastle cannot slip up against Ipswich. And I've said it on a video before, I'll say it again. If we cannot beat Ipswich Town at home at the business end of the season, we don't deserve Champions League football. I didn't get to do too much of a deep dive, tactical analysis into the Aston Villa game. I did have one prepped and then the week just swept on. Was I overly worried from what I saw at Aston Villa? No. I will hold my hands up and honestly say that I think Unai Emery got one over on Jason Tindall's Newcastle. I don't blame it on tired legs too much because of the 3 matches in 6 days. I blame it on tired legs being caused by being overrun by the likes of Asensio, the likes of Rodgers, the likes of Watkins, and the likes of Trippier, Schär and Byrne did not know their arse from the elbow. The man-to-man press did not work, and there was lots we could learn from that particular performance on how other teams can actually beat the way we like to play. And I hope it's something that Eddie Howe sat on his sofa before he's come back to training can learn from, and I hope it's something that Mad Dog Tyndall learns from, because I think he should have gone 5 at the back at half-time and it would have nullified a lot of their threat. But he didn't. We lost the game. Aston Villa worthy winners, and we just need to move on. Now, Ipswich Town, look, they've had mixed results, but interestingly, 3 of their 4 wins this season, yes, they've only had 4, have been away from home. And I look at their recent performances, they seem to do a little bit better away. They had a really impressive win at Bournemouth. They've been narrowly beaten here and there, 1-0, 2-0. And it's not going to be an easy game by any means. And of course, as I mentioned at the start of this video, Ipswich Town will be relegated if they do not win the football match. They can still win, but if West Ham get a result, I think they're away at Brighton, they are going down. So they're going to be going out fighting. I think that sometimes teams in these positions, once they are relegated, they play a little bit better. And that goes back to Southampton getting a draw at West Ham last weekend. There's a freedom once the inevitable's been decided. So I do think that Newcastle should take advantage of that feeling of inevitability that some of the players have. But who should we look out for? Well, someone I'll be keeping a very close eye on, and it's quite an obvious one, is Liam Delap, their striker. He's got 12 goals and 2 assists, which for a team that's only won 4 football matches is an impressive stat in itself. And we have been linked with him recently. I think he fits a mould of an alternative style of striker to Alexander Isak. Perfect. And I think the profile and project that we are on, 22 years old, young, English, which always appeals to fans, to Newcastle fans, when you've got an English player doing the business. I think he would offer a sort of a hold-up traditional style striker, totally different to what Isak offers, and he's probably happy enough to be on the bench in a European season campaign where rotation is going to be key. He's someone I'll be keeping a close eye on for that reason, but he's not someone in this particular match that I'm too worried about. Famous last words. our defenders dealing with, because if there's one sort of striker that the likes of Dan Burn are normally okay against, it's ones who want to get a bit rough and ready and a bit close to their man. That's exactly what Delap does, but he also has a bit of pace about him. He is willing to run the channels, and all of his stats, when I ran the numbers on him this season, are really, really impressive. Even his dribbles per 90 for a big man leading the line. He's a bloke. I'm not going to claim that I've watched a lot of him, and that's why I'm keen to keep a close eye on him. But he's a player we need to look out for. But this Ipswich team play a high press style, and if we go back to the game at Portman Road in December that I went down for, that worked in our favour, because Ipswich Town are respected, but they do not have the quality of players to go high press like we do and beat many opposition in the Premier League. That will play into our hands, because when teams go high press, we have the capabilities to play through. So that killer instinct from defence to midfield is going to be key in us cutting between the lines. Team news for this one and lineups, where we unsure on Fabian Schär, who came off with a bit of a hamstring problem in the latter minutes of that awful performance at Aston Villa. If Fabian Schär's out, that's a massive blow, because him and Byrne have had such a good understanding, and Fabian Schär, who I've been a little bit critical of this season, has improved, I'd say, in the last month or so, particularly since that in and around the Carabao Cup final. Emil Kraft is the obvious choice. Emil Kraft has never let Newcastle United down. He slots in with Dan Burn, and we just hope that Kraft will be looking to really, really impress Eddie Howe, because he very rarely gets any opportunities these days. He gets the odd cameo at right back. So he's the obvious choice. Midfield, keep it as it is. Front three, some Newcastle fans might want Anthony Gordon to come back in. Harvey Barnes, why would you take him out? I've said that against Man United previously, Anthony Gordon would have been a good tactical player to bring. Let's have Anthony Gordon like a piranha on the bench, chomping off the bit to come on. Harvey Barnes, he scored a lovely, lovely goal against Crystal Palace, like Alan Shearer-esque. That was a beautiful goal with his weaker foot. Keep him in. Don't change a generally winning side. Alexander Isak, Jacob Murphy, and go from there. Massively unchanged, other than what looks like Emil Kraft. Right, anyway, you know what it's all time for. You know what it's all time for. Can anyone guess? You don't need to. Of course, it's Black and White Banter Stats. Stats. Oh, an interesting one. Despite Newcastle being one of only 5 teams to score 60 Premier League goals this season, we've only had 9 different scorers, which is the lowest in the league. Compare that to last season, when we had the most. They do in the business, but less players in our team are scoring, excluding own goals. Make of that one what you will. The away team, Ipswich Town, have conceded a record 27 points this season from winning positions, whilst on the flip side of that, the more positive side, Newcastle have conceded a record low from winning positions, 7. So if Ipswich take the lead, all is not lost in this match. Similarly, if Newcastle take the lead, for Ipswich, a lot could be lost. Ipswich Town are winless in their last 11 trips to St James's Park, drawing 5 and losing 6. This is the first time the two teams have met at this place since the 2001-2002 season. The score that day was 2-2. For some reason, I remember the match, I remember the commentary. Lost by O'Brien and found by Bent, and Ipswich Town are back in front.
Oh, and it's been lost by O'Brien and found by Bent, and Ipswich Town are back in front.
Right then, it's prediction time. Look, it's all about getting the job done. I'm nervous thinking about any possibility of not getting a win against Ipswich at home before we've got a dreaded trip to Brighton, where we do not do very well as a rule down on the seaside. I'm going to go comfortable, but I am going to go for Ipswich to score a goal to give their fans something to cheer about. I'm going to go for the same scoreline as Manchester United a week ago. I'm going to go for 4-1. They don't have much in their locker. They do need to come out and attack us even more than they normally do as a team to try and avoid relegation on Saturday. And we will be hungry to prove people wrong, with Eddie Howe fitting well back in the dugout after that awful performance in Aston Villa. 4-1 is my prediction. Let us know yours down below, please, Newcastle fans. Let us know your team predictions, and will we get Champions League? Thank you very much for watching this long. Drop us a like, drop us a subscribe, give us a comment, and get Black and White Banter across all social media. The match vlogs for Ipswich and the fan cams will be coming. Anyone who's going to the game, I always meet at the top of the steps outside the Gallagher. Come and find me, come and have a chat with me. I always appreciate and love meeting people, and I'll get you on one of these videos. Thanks again for watching. And how are you, lad?